Game 1 in the rematch between Tempest and Miracle. And for Tempest, a lot was relying on their ability to execute combos, Void Prison with the Apocalypse. But a big thing for me was Hyde and his inability to be able to execute good stay-a-whiles along with those combos trick.
Well, one of it was because Blue Beetle was hitting amazing Aegis. He immediately followed up there. You had the armor right away, which meant that suddenly Miracle can decide, do we want to turn around and continue this fight, or do we want to back up? But I agree with you. Hyde not being able to find those big stay-a-while listens, that's a very difficult thing that is going to ruin your team. So hopefully that adjustment is going to be happening, but at the same time, we keep talking about the garage. If that garage is allowed through one more time, I feel like Miracle right now is on a steamroll.
Well, we've been talking so much about how important this rematch is for Miracle, even beyond just moving on, but this really is a grudge match because Miracle, who had gotten to a point in league play where they were not only defeating Ballistics, which is what happened in playoffs, they beat Gen G, guys. One team that could consistently defeat them was Tempest. And when we asked why to Miracle, they said, we can team fight, but Tempest, they team fight even better. And Wolf, it just no longer feels like that's the case after Game 1.
I feel like there were a lot of moments where we saw VP used defensively. There were some overextensions by Tempest. Like, it feels like Tempest is literally living in the past in terms of their drafting, in terms of their execution of draft. I mean, it was so textbook what we saw there from Frankel. Hide in the bush, send the Banshee over, delay. They've got the Dahaka. The Dahaka was let through the draft again. Everything is, there's like nothing weird about what Miracle is doing. Everything is standard. But there is that feeling like they can't even team fight better than Miracle now. So how can they win this best of 3? Like, it's like, this is the change of the guard. You know, this is maybe the second best team in Korea now. We have to think about that as potentially like a fact, not an opinion anymore.
Pressure was a big point for me because you look at Zeratul and normally you're trying to really create not only kill opportunities through the wombo combo, but you want to pressure the backline. And we saw such a great communication on the side of Miracle wherever Zeratul is. That it was so difficult for Lockdown to get anywhere close to a target. And you want to land that VP to set something up, but every time there was a choke point situation, Miracle just moved back, let them move in and said, okay, we're going to take him on open space. We're going to just simply move apart. And then you have Sniper, who does the exact opposite. He's the one who all of a sudden finds those aggressive pressure points where he can jump on a target. How often did we see him jump on Hyde, get the pull in, and all of a sudden you see the cage coming down, big team fight, and they walk away with 2 to 3 kills? Well,
the reason why we see such great team fights from Korean teams is because this is a region known from their for their micro game, their ability to team fight. Gen G, such an exceptional micro-intensive team. And looking at the teams that are here at the HGC Finals, we could see total team fight time in opening week. The one was at the top. We expect that, right, from a Chinese team. But after that, Tempest. And Tempest giving those opportunities to the one is a very reason why the one trick were able to get a game off of Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite a brawl too. But yeah, when you're looking at the regions, I think you can look at it as China, probably the most aggressive when it comes to brawling in those fights. And of course, Korea afterwards, North America, and then Europe. You're going to see a lot of aggression when you have these regions facing off each other. And we're going to get it between mirror matchups consistently.
And the last game, we saw 11 minutes average time. The last game was 14 minutes of team fighting. So, you know, it was pretty fun for you guys to commentate. It was fun for me to listen to. It was fun for us to watch. But I guess it kind of depends on the map too, right? You're going to get a lot of brawls in Towers of Doom, and we'll have to see where we're going and if those kinds of brawls opportunities can continue for both of these teams. But I love the idea that Miracle might be able to finally shake off Tempest, because when we had asked them, you know, it was like us and then Tempest, and I can't remember who said that, but it was just like covering it, because it's always felt like Tempest are the better team fighters, and it's just no longer the case, Kaldor.
I would absolutely agree with it. I mean, you saw it in the last fight. There were even a couple of moments where we talked a lot about the synergy. You have the arrow, you have the epoch, the Void Prison. In some of them, they nearly screwed it up. You all of a sudden, the Void Prison coming out just after the Apocalypse is there. They still manage to get the hits, though, and the stuns, but then nothing happens. Twice, I think, in a row, they executed the combo, and then there's no follow-up with damage. There's no kill, and all of a sudden you just see Miracle saying, like, well, I guess we take that fight now.
I think a big change up here, though, for Miracle is Dahaka coming in here. Typically, you look at Miracle, and they're always converging on their opponents, and Tempest was able to punish that with better fighting in the past. But Dahaka suddenly allowed for that 4-man to back up, play a little bit safer, and allowed for them to finally give those picks that they actually want to have compared to what we've seen in the past.
Well, I've got news, and good news for you brawling fans, because we are headed to Battlefield of Eternity for Game 2 between these teams. Chosen by Miracle, Tempest wanting first pick to make their last stand. Potentially, depending how the next game goes. But Battlefield of Eternity, Korea versus Korea. Wolf, break it down.
I mean, this has been an incredible map for Phase 2 for Miracle. They've had some great last stands on this, including their defenses of their core while down 2 keeps against Gen G. Having that comeback with no keeps down for Gen G is one of the more famous games from League play in Korea this year. And you know, they've been focused more on macro recently, you know, to further that point you guys were just discussing about this team being known for team fighting, then transitioning into Dahaka control. It feels to me that there's been a shift of the meta this entire tournament of teams that go for the dive, teams that go for aggression overall are starting to fail, with the exception of Dignitas. They ran the solo support out with their Crush Tempest with that. But besides that, it feels like the teams that are being more passive, playing the macro game, and looking for counter engages rather than the actual dive themselves, are finding more success.
Is this a Hanzo? Is this a Maiev?
It's got to be a Hanzo.
I mean, first of all, can we appreciate the Garrosh ban?
Yeah, we certainly can.
We should all appreciate that Garrosh ban. Talking about tanks, though, both teams, like Tyrael here, that could come into play later on.
Leaving Hanzo open.
All right.
I love how right out of the bat they are banning Garrosh. The last time they didn't even make it into the bans at all, and right now they're saying, okay, first ban, like, we're done with this. But yeah, with Hanzo open, of course, you want to get him great engage potential through the arrow. You can raise the Immortal. He's fantastic for the poke. But so is Serana. She's a huge asset on any map these days, but on Battlefield of Eternity even more so. And you have the setup with Diablo, so already aggressive. You have a lot of kill opportunities here if you execute your combos correctly, and you can also like spec straight into an Immortal race if you have some follow-up damage behind it.
Feels like this is a composition where I think Sign might have to play Tyrael. The Garrosh is removed. You have the more defensive composition with the Hanzo, and Anubrag is the other hero that Sign likes to play, but it doesn't suit this composition. It suits a more aggressive, more dive-oriented composition, not a Hanzo scatter arrow style. So I think Miracle is probably giving a lot of consideration to that Tyrael ban here that you brought up earlier, because it's just so powerful with this. You already have Blaze as well for disengage, the Aegis that Whitemane can provide, as we saw with great success on towers. So, I mean, this is, I mean, if they get forced to play something other than the Tyrael, then I think they're going to struggle. They banned the Hammer instead, so furthering that idea of making sure they don't have the ultimate composition to grind away at those Immortals. We're still following the same logic.
Battleground. Do you feel like Sign could run Murden here?
I was thinking about that too, because you have a jet propulsion follow-up. I mean, we have seen a lot of that Tyrael and Blaze combo in the group stage actually,
sure,
where you can, like the Western Clash, the first one this year, layer your defensive tools with the Sanctification and the Bunker. That can really help depending on what you run as the additional damage dealer. If you want to engage there, oftentimes you've seen that in the past with the Greymane. That can actually work on Battlefield of Eternity. Not necessarily the pick that you have to play here, but if you are going away from that idea, then a Murden would be a good choice too.
Well, there's that Thrall that we've been looking for. One of the 2 out of 4 that you typically get when you have Miracle getting wins here. You have the Diablo and you have the Thrall mixed in here, which is usually pretty darn good for them. 70% of their wins and above have been because of this combo being together. And then, of course, Raynor coming in for Frankel.
A lot of that is Sniper. When
Yeah.
you put Sniper on something that is easier to kill, that's when things are easier for opponents of Miracle. But if you can get home something that can turn fights, like with the Sundering, or even the Maiev that we saw in the last game, things get a lot better.
It's going to have to be a flanking Thrall. It's going to have to be an engaged Thrall, however, not going to be the you know, more defensive setup in most cases against this style. And they're going to take ATC. So Sign, he's had some inconsistency on Tyrael over the years, shall we say. And I think that the ETC is something that's more comfortable for him, but I don't know if it's as safe against a Thrall, for example. Tyrael could set up a Sanct to prevent an entire engage, whereas ETC is limited in what he can do. He's not going to find an easy mosh pit here, and he's not going to be able to deny that Sunder flank.
ETC on this map, this is one of ETC's better maps for sure though, so you have at least a tool where you can try and get someone into an Immortal Stun, push him out, slide through. You have also him comboed now with a Blaze, which gives an additional layer of defense after level 10, because ETC usually struggles that you can just burst him down pretty easily, and as an ETC player you have to be very careful that you don't take any poke damage.
Yeah.
With the Blaze, you mitigate that weakness a little bit. But yeah, Sign has to be playing on point here if they want to get a good value out of it. But it's a good map for him, and it's a decent composition also for an ETC.
His job is to create space here. Just make sure that Hanzo has time to put out those scatter arrows, especially post level 7, and he can do that. But the room for error is pretty darn low. If you make a mistake, ETC pops just like that.
Sign earlier in the group stage played Stage Dive ETC, correct?
Yeah, it was really weird, and it didn't work out. I don't think we're going to see that. I mean, that Stage Dive pick was so weird to me that I almost wondered if it was a misclick back in the group stage. I think that Miracle has absolute control over this. ETC is dated because back when ETC was super popular, there weren't great poke heroes like the Raynor, and now they have the Tyrande. If he gets caught with any Lunar Flares, he is going to be, if he doesn't die, so worthless. He's going to have to Hearth Home or tap. So I don't have a lot of faith that this ETC was better than the Tyrael.
No room for error for Sign and no room for error for Tempest, as they must win this to stay in the tournament as they go into Game 2 on Battlefield of Eternity versus Miracle.
Where Miracle has finally broken that streak against Tempest. They got that first win, but now the next step, winning a series.
It looks like we can maybe pull that off, though. The amount of CC that we have on Miracle's lineup, also with Thrall in the mix for the Wolves, with Diablo engaged, and Tyrande follow-up, and Arthas as well for Howling Blast and the slows alone. There's so much CC available for that team that whenever you get caught, you are forced into a fight that, if you are Tempest, you might not want to take.
The only thing they're kind of missing here, they have Diablo that can force the engages, but if you have your front line watching for that Diablo, typically Hanzo has enough space to win those races. So we're going to watch that front line, but here we go. Straight into the match on the left side. In the blue, it will be Judy on Diablo, Franco on Raynor, Blue Beetle on Tyrande, Nacho on Arthas, and Sniper show off the Thrall.
And over to the right side of the map, their opponent down one game in the series. Hyde on Whitemane for Team Tempest. Sign is on ETC. Dami on Blaze. We're seeing Lockdown on Hanzo in this game. And last but not least, it's good on Phoenix. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Tempest!
Speaking of Tempest and Sign in particular, level 1 change up for that talent. Going into the block party, typically you want to do this against high auto attack heroes that are looking to burn you down. With Raynor and Thrall on the opposing side, not a bad choice to pick up.
Yeah, and there's always, of course, the argument to be made if you're going for prop rock and you have to get those globes. This is a 2-lane map. Yes, if you dominate the objective, you get that completed a lot faster. There's always that back and forth when it comes to a discussion of which talent to take here. We have Whitemane as the backup, so they should be able to create that space. But as we said before, a lot of this hinges on Sign, his positioning, and his playmaking abilities.
Now, Tempest has Phoenix hanging back in that top right corner, seeing if Arthur can get aggressive here, but Thrall is actually rotating up.
Exactly. Thrall is actually, in this case, still holding his level 1 too. Now, we've seen Crash Lightning on this map in particular popping up a lot more recently, but you can still go into the Echo of Elements here if you want to have those extra pokes, but he goes for the Crash Lightning. He wants the stacks.
Sniper loves those stacks. Good gets locked down, but able to warp away. Hyde provides the heals as well, as Sign stepped up with a power slide.
Exactly. Sign immediately there, and that was so important. That could have been the first blood for Miracle, but Sign sees what happens, slides through and says immediately, like, not on my watch, moves away from it. So great job by him preventing that kill against Phoenix.
A great power slide, but also shows the weakness of ETC. If he's not able to power slide aggressively forward, even though that engage came their way like most tanks, he has to escape away. So Miracle still gets that free trade-off of damage, and they don't get punished for it. Most tanks would have stood up and tried to get a pick instead.
Yeah, now of course here, still the poke happening. Look at Sign, he's already anchoring the side here. Judy wants to sniff him out though. He's moving in. Good penetrating round again, as especially Frankel was of course a bit cautious here. He sees Sign coming in, he's like, well, I need to be careful here. If he gets the power slide, I might be in trouble. So preemptively just shoots that out immediately.
So a quick update right now. That Crash Lightning already sitting at 3 stacks so far, but the big one here is Lockdown with the Scatter Arrow quest at level 1, already at 9 stacks there. He is moving up quickly as he hits a 10 stack.
They're really impressive here on his part. So great moves on Hanzo, but the poke down to the bottom, still providing a lot of stacks for Sniper. And of course, this is even before we're seeing any kind of Immortal Ray. This is fantastic for him. The more of those stacks he picks up early on the Crash Lightning, the easier the completion is going to be, especially once we're seeing those little stalemates in the middle. But for now, it's the big fight over the camp to the bot lane.
Dami already rotating from the top lane too. Tempest wants to grab this, but Miracle spots him. They'll back up and give it away. Play it safe here. You can clear that out easily. You got Raynor, you got Thrall. Just back up and have Arthas pushing the top instead.
The one thing that you could also definitely have done in the case of Miracle is on level 1 going to the Spell Armor, but we have the Celestial Attunement on Tyrande, so the jet propulsion, the engage through Hanzo later on, and his TC in particular. You really want to be careful here. Having that double cleanse available is going to be absolutely great for Miracle, despite the fact that they themselves also run a huge amount of CC.
Yeah, very important to make sure you get rid of that CC because of Hanzo. If you said it will set that Scatter Arrow, burn you down, those things are very hard to deal with, especially with Tyrande even providing those heals. Now here we go, straight into the Immortal phase, and this is where we're going to see that Hanzo be a bit of a pain. Lockdown, already burning down this Immortal, but you have Miracle stepping up and put some damage out too.
Yeah, Miracle definitely have to prove themselves here on the objective. Also the Frostwolf pack taken on Thrall on level 4. We've seen it a lot from Rich at the Eastern Clash and also here at the tournament, trying to get those stacks together, the cooldown reduction, and also making it a little bit more easier to maintain your mana pool here. But we have and nearly even halftime show here as both the teams now aiming straight for their objective, but it's Hanzo on the right side trying to make the plays while the rest of the team defends.
A prime setup when you have a Hanzo on your team. Leave him by himself by the
Hyde.
Hyde stepping up, trying to slow down some time here. Nacho continues to chase him down. Good backing up as well to chase down that Arthas, but at the same time, Miracle's working their damage. Sniper stepping up and getting that Wind Fury in.
Yeah, once again though, we have the engage attempt here by Dami with the jet propulsion, not quite following it through, but it is Miracle who loses the first Immortal race. The kill though against Blaze here happening as Reyna delivers the final shot.
That'll be a nice pick there for Miracle. Get them in the perfect spot for defense, even sending Sniper back for some mana to make sure he's there, and also working on those Crash Lightning stacks. And speaking about that, more stacks coming in. Level 4 getting picked up, that Frost Wolf pack, trying to make sure you get that cooldown reduction, and of course that mana reduction.
Level 4 also the True Shot aura taken on Tyrande here now in this case. Now the Immortal, of course, still low shield, and with Blaze now spawning and moving to the top lane, there's still a 4 versus 4 situation at the bottom of the map. Tempest is hoping to at least get the wall here, take those 2 towers down, and maybe get the level 7 talent a bit earlier than their opponent. But Miracle, they have quite a bit of poke here. They're already using Frankel with those auto attacks on Reyna to burn it down quickly, and they can always rely on Tyrande for the same.
Gosh, I love that True Shot aura pickup. Sure, the damage is great, but also that reset on the Hunter's Mark gives you a chance to burn down the Immortal. And there it is, cleaned up. We've been seeing a lot in Europe. That first Immortal has actually gotten to a point where it's getting half a 4 or even a 4 if they can find a pick. Miracle stops that in its tracks completely by clearing it up thanks to Tyrande.
And especially after game 1, you have to respect Miracle here if you're Tempest. You have to just realize this is going to be a tough road ahead. But still, if you can have that engage with ETC and you have the quick follow-up, getting those kills will be great for you. Whenever you manage that around an objective, your combo just excels at burning that Immortal down and getting a huge pressure play through the top lane.
Both our teams building towards level 10, but neck and neck in experience, 7.25. We should be around 9.25, 9.5 when that second Immortal phase comes up. And I want to see who's been getting to that race first. And of course, what heroics we're going into. You have that Dragon Zero, that big jet propulsion to follow up. If Tempest can get there before their opponents just barely, they should be able to find a pick and continue to get that race.
You can see Judy there the entire time, just super high if you're looking for that play. And you can't blame him after game number 1. He absolutely excelled there. And he's sitting at 90 souls too, so he's actually pretty tanky at this point. And with the backup from Tyrande, he can definitely try and make these engages happen. But in that 4-man, they're still a little bit reluctant to make those plays. Tempest, once more, gets the bottom mercenary camp.
But Miracle wants to fight. Nothing coming in from the top. Comes in behind Dami, able to get a nice Howling Blast. And here's Judy going forward, but Sign gets a knockback straight to a turret.
Sign comes in with a stun, and immediately Dami follows it up with the jet propulsion. Judy's in trouble. He's getting healed up and moves out. Both of the teams trading blows here. No one falling, but for Judy, was a close call here.
Quick brawl, but Sign showing what ETC can do. If you overextend, he can knock you into a poor position.
Sniper is sitting at 17 stacks already on the Crash Lightning, and we are only 6.5 minutes into the game. He's really racking up the damage here, and he only needs 13 more to complete the quest.
That mixed with the Ancestral Wrath and something that front line is going to have a terrible time if they're able to buy time around the Immortal phase, which is what Tempest is trying to mitigate with those Hanzo's Dragon Arrows. Same time though, Miracle immediately coming in with that race, and Blue Beetle once again showing off the power of Tyrande.
Yeah, and once more, they are just trading evenly into the halftime show here. So they are now able to focus once again, but we already have a more aggressive play from Tempest. And here comes Miracle, realizing that against Hanzo, they have to make something happen. He already sniping in a bit of trouble here on his thrall, trying to move away and barely gets out, but the fight turns onto Phoenix and he falls.
And Nitrogen hugging onto Hyde here, chasing down that white main, trying to get her picked off. Judy trying to help out as well. Drops out the fire.
Dami.
Body blocking top left though. Dami in trouble. Lunar Flare comes out and misses, but the Wolf connects.
And that's the CC we've been talking about. It's not only Hanzo that falls on the right, but we have the kill against Blaze, and we've been talking about it earlier. You have Arthas, the Howling Blast. You have, of course, Thrall with those wolves as well, and then the entire setup around Diablo and Tyrande. So powerful. Miracle going for the kills, using the crowd control, and just picking them up one after another. 4 kills against 0 in game number 2.
Now, it's not worst case scenario for Tempest yet. They have decent clear with that Hanzo dropping down those scatter arrows. The main issue, though, is that 10 lingering here for Miracle. If Miracle is able to grab that level 10 as they're pushing forward, we can see them get aggressive behind this fort, get a couple of picks, suddenly take down a keep wall, and the game can snowball from there.
For Tempest, it's just so tricky in general. I mean, the tools that they're really relying upon right now is, of course, the intercession level 7 for white main, and also the plays of ETC, trying to just create space and interrupt the plays on the side of the opponent. The problem is, intercession is a 60-second cooldown. There's so much CC on the side of Miracle, you don't even know what to use it for, and it's always a bad trade in the end for you, unless there's a massive commitment by Miracle. And so far, Miracle is just running with the advantages. The early level 10 ban, the fort at the top lane goes down, and they can now try and make the play, especially with Sundering being picked up on the side of Thrall. You want that flank.
Exactly. Good news though for Miracle though, it is into melee form. The Immortal is, it steps up and goes by the gate here, rushing straight in for that turret. It's a lockdown. Continue to shell away those arrows, and he is doing so already, down to half health. But Judy, he's feeling hungry. He goes in for good. Who is gonna not get flipped as he's backing up?
Dami wants the flank, but they don't have 10 yet. They need a little bit more experience. He's still poking though, and here come the heroic abilities. This is an opportunity. Maybe they can turn this around. The keep is already low. Dami and Sign are looking for potential engage. Yes, the stage dive again. The arrow comes in. The stage dive comes through. Where's the slide? Not happening just yet, but here's the lightning breath.
Blue Beetle with a perfect Luna Flare. There goes the bunker at the same time, and HGC's in trouble. The interception comes out, and Sign is able to retreat. The big salvo coming out and putting damage on Miracle.
The salvo coming through, but Dami was too low. He was trying to connect another jet propulsion, but didn't quite hit it. And Miracle just barely moving away from this one. It actually looked great for Miracle at the start, but that salvo turned a lot. That damage output was absolutely what Tempest needed here. And in an ideal world, they could have maybe stopped someone through that jet propulsion, just stop them, get that kill, maybe snowball it a bit more, but they're definitely not out of this game yet.
I gotta shout out Blue Beetle though. Remember that Lunar Flare, right when the stage dive came in there, landed the Lunar Flare. Had ETC landed perfectly there, he could have had a power slide, knock back, bring in that damage, and that could have been a completely different team fight.
It's definitely a bit tricky for Sign at the front. You kind of want to go for the mosh pit, but you have a Tyrande against you for the interrupt. You have, of course, also then on the side of Thrall now that Sundering. That's definitely interrupt potential, penetrating round 2. So it is not, you can make a good argument for both cases, and especially when he lands a good stage dive as a follow-up, there's always the opportunity for them to just position properly. But with Tyrande, as you said, paying attention in the last fight, he just got shut down as he was trying to make the play.
Something also to talk about with that stage dive being available is even the way that keep wounded in the top right corner by Miracle, suddenly they have a tool, Tempest here, to defend that. They can split push that the entire time, make sure it doesn't get picked off, and if they ever need ETC in a team fight, he shows up with the stage dive.
It's a really good point. Given their situation on the top lane, that gives them another tool in their arsenal if they need to control that top side push. Once again though, they're going into the Immortal race, and Judy is already eating a little bit of poke damage here. Lockdown is trying to work that in over and over, and bringing Judy down on half HP on his Diablo.
Sniper the entire time and just shelling out that lightning. 27 stacks so far, and of course the Wolves too. He finished off that quest at level 4, making it hard for Tempest to get that engage they're looking for. Every time you have a jet propulsion come in, you suddenly have Sniper turning around and dropping the Wolf and blocking him down.
Exactly, and as you said, he's so close of also completing Crash Lightning. That's even more poke damage that they have here. But Whiteman has done a great job of just keeping everyone alive. But it's that thin line that ETC in particular walks that we pointed out earlier. But Tempest are definitely in a spot where they also have to question, do we engage here? Our opponent nearly has to hit level 13. Do we make the play now? Do we go up against an opponent that might have the talent advantage? Or how do we play this?
Well, so far, they're playing it slow, letting the lockdown drop on the arrows, but at the same time, look at Miracle on that bottom left, that Banshee, putting damage on that Immortal too. There is a trade-off happening between these two teams. Tempest comes to the rotation on the bottom left while Judy steps up. He's looking for the bite now. Finds a nice Howling Blast in the top right corner, but nothing really comes out of Miracle yet.
Crash Lightning is completed. That extra damage is going to be great for them. 13 also in their hands now. Finally, Miracle has the advantage. They have hit a couple of power spikes, and they're trying to transfer that straight into the game here, making the engage. Judy here with a split. The stuns are coming out. The Lightning Breath is in. Dami falling low and has to drop the bunker.
But Miracle can back up from this. They don't have to go for the full engage. The Starfall comes out, but they do get away. We had that Lightning Breath come out because there was an Immortal stun that was going to connect with Diablo, so he just wanted to make sure he didn't get picked off. And the halftime show goes in favor of Miracle thanks to that Lightning Breath come out.
Tempest at this point just tapping. They go down to the bot lane, they tap at the fountain, make the rotation top there, trying to make sure that they're not losing out on the objective, that they can stall it out a bit longer. And this is also where you can see ETC now at the top side. He's going to get that experience. He still has the opportunity to use the stage dive, but Miracle makes the commitment. Stage dive comes into the back line. Blue Beetle needs to be careful, but immediately here comes the power slide, and that's the kill. Atlas goes down.
The salvo really connects there. Good, looking for more kills here too. Dami stepping forward. We'll be looking for that jet propulsion. Oil comes in and slow down anyone trying to retreat, but Miracle able to get away. Tempest can take this opportunity to seize damage on the Immortal.
It's so close. There's only 3,000 hit points left on Tempest's Immortal, but now they are trying to, of course, turn that around. They are still down a talent, but they have the 5 versus 4 going, and they're cutting Miracle off. No access to the right side of the map, and they're just poking away, trying to make sure that they're getting that Immortal before Arthas is back in the battle.
Judy goes for a combo, but Sign steps up. There goes the Dragon Arrow 2. Sniper on the back right, trying his best here to stay alive. He's able to kite down to his
Sniper.
Then comes in for the Jump Potion while Sign deals with Blue Beetle on the back left.
Sign immediately getting stunned again, though. Blue Beetle makes a place here. The pressure, they're thundering. They're going for him, and down he goes. ETC dead in the waters, and they're turning their attention to Phoenix. The double kill for Miracle.
Judy is not done. He goes to the Lightning Breath. He looks at Hanzo. Hanzo trying to win this race. Can he get off one more scatter arrow? Oh my gosh, 84 HP left. Tempest unable to get the Immortal, and Miracle turns around and takes an Immortal for themselves.
They take down the entire team. They even proc the camp here and are starting to go for that now too. Just as the Immortal, the objective is taken. Miracle is out for blood. Tempest, with a kill against Arthas, they look like they're finally in a position where they might start a comeback here, but Miracle is shutting it down completely.
You gotta love the Bruiser camp being grabbed too. Now something ETC has to go to the top lane, so Miracle can get a bit more aggressive behind this. Fort on the bottom right corner, take that out, and you suddenly have pressure on top of that keep. In fact, all of Tempest is so afraid of that top lane being cleaned up, they brought everyone to clear it up.
It's still even talents, but for how long? A 2-level lead in the hands of Miracle as they're working their way towards level 16 talents. Tempest, how do they play this now? Do they try and push past the Immortal, force the engage? They have nearly all the cooldowns readily available. It's only the bunker that they're still missing here.
The entire time, Sniper just dropping down that lightning as well. Arrow comes out, but it does not connect on a target. Tempest goes in for the engage. Dami in the back right has to drop the Pyromania. He's low on health. He's trying to escape. There's a bunker.
Bunker just in the nick of time. Comes off cooldown. He uses it immediately, but has to retreat back here as we see Miracle just power through that bot lane and go for the keep.
That's keeps and that's catapults there. Tempest has to back away. They still have that keep in the top right corner. It's standing, but it is low. Miracle rotating this top side. They have a talent advantage. 3 levels ahead. This game is in the bag in their eyes. Can they hold on, though, and shut down Tempest with a 2-0?
Miracle already in the lead in the series, and they are definitely here to take it all without even drop a map. They're going for keep number 2, and there is nothing to stop them. Tempest skirting around the edges of this fight, but they can't find the engage, and with a 3-level lead, 2 keeps down, Miracle moves away and is waiting for the next Immortal to spawn.
Miracle with a massive lead can play this slow, but Tempest, you gotta be happy that you picked ETC in this spot, because you are behind, but at least you have that global available. You can clear out the catapults, you can play it safe and get that 16, but it is down to one last chance. It may come down to a Hail Mary team fight for them.
Oh, it definitely will. Tempest will be back to the wall now. They have one more fight and they know it, and they might have to take it without having the 16 talent as well. They need a pick. They need to find a fight, and Miracle knows it. They're not going to give it to them. They're going to wait as long as they can. They're trying to now go for the camps here, but they're going to play this very cautious. Judy anchoring the plays already. They're playing around vision. They're making sure that they know exactly where Tempest is, or at least play it safe.
Judy holding the bushes, Toronto constantly with the scouts of the Owls, keeping an eye on where that 5-man is currently at, even grouping up as a 5-man in case they do get surprised and can escape together. Miracle starting to push out this bottom lane. They know Tempest is in this top side. There's 3 there. No fight will be unfolding. Tempest, meanwhile, is trying desperately to find that level 16.
Destroying the walls, limiting the vision that we are seeing coming from Tempest. The Owls still following through, and they can also, at any point, even pressure the core. If you're Tempest, you move into the middle, and all of a sudden Miracle appears bot side. You might just lose the core without even having a chance of a fair fight.
I think even just showing that you want to go for that aggressive play makes Tempest back up, and that means you get a head start on top of the Immortal. Look at this. Miracle already in position. They had Tempest cowering in that bottom right corner of the battleground, and Miracle goes straight for the halftime show.
And look at Tempest. They're so close. It's half a level away. But they just can't wait for it. They need to go, and they're trying to. They go for Judy, and he charges the Immortal to get out of the Immortal stun. Great play by him. Tempest doesn't find the opening.
Look at ETC in the top left corner. If Miracle were to kite that top left, he would have gone in for a power slide and try to get them in. At the same time, Whiteman pervading the heals. Dami trying his best here to hold that front line.
Tempest in this entire game has only found a single kill. Miracle is sitting at 9, and they want more. Once again, the stuns are coming out. The arrow comes in. They're making the engage happen. Dami doesn't find an ETC with the power slide. The salvo, the kill. Reyna is down, and they're looking for more.
They find a Jemmy. Miracle trying to skedaddle here. Judy doing his best here to hold Dami on the corner, but Dami with the jump potion gets out. But look at the top left. Hyde gets in trouble as Whitemane is cleaned up. Miracle trades 1 for 1.
And Hanzo barely jumping out, at least for now, trying to retreat here. Tempest, they get the early kill, but then the death of Whitemane is evening up the scores again.
Oh no.
Already on the run. But we have the engage on the Immortal, and the fight's just continuing. Lockdown and Sign, they are just trying to rush away from this.
You can run, but you cannot hide from Judy. Judy going for the kills here at the top right, though. Good, and Dami find their own dicks. They chase down Nitrogen. Blue Beetle kiting the best he can here, but he's just a lonely support. Jet Propulsion and a cleanup.
Tirana goes down, but there's catapults on the core. Tempest. Fires are burning everywhere. They somehow need to deal with all of this. Win the Immortal, defend the core, and it's losing hit points as we speak.
Down to 80%, and now as Tempest goes back to cleaning up, they have left in a spot here where Miracle is able to grab that Immortal, and this Immortal is surely game if Miracle is able to finish it up. They're so close, 3k HP left on it.
Sniper, Judy, and Nitrogen are already focusing in it, and they are just obliterating it. Big Immortal coming in once again. Tempest sitting at 71% on the core. They're still 2 levels behind. They finally picked up that level 16 talent, but this is looking like an absolutely Hail Mary move. How do you defend here against the Miracle?
You have to fight, and Tempest knows it. They step up and they jump on Judy, who's a little too far forward. Here comes the stage dive too. Big power slide available here for Cyan. Can he find a target? There it is. Salvo connects. Dami hit the jump potion in the back right, but Judy tries to escape.
It's not enough. There's no kill. They're trying to go for the Arbor. They might get him, and indeed they do. He loses his souls, but he will be back. Lockdown so close to falling, barely escapes here. They try to keep him alive, but that Immortal is still moving towards the core.
Exactly.
That thing is a beast, and it will destroy. They need to rush that down.
Lockdown trying to clean it up here, dropping on the scatter arrows. Nitrogen and Frankel are right behind. Sniper 2. Here comes some more damage here as Stein is trying to escape. Actually gets cleaned up, and the Immortal is on the core. The shield are still there, but Lockdown is doing his best to clean it up.
Once again, they're trying to go for the backline kills, but Phoenix falls, 50%. And Tempest hopes are dying
40.
with them. 46%, 37. They're going for it. This is the last kill. Down goes Blaze.
There it is.
Score, and Miracle takes the 2-0 in the series.
Miracle always having a difficult time when it comes to Tempest, consistently losing to them when it came to the yearly play, but when it matters on the big stage, Miracle is able to turn around, and they do it in a decisive manner, a 2-0 Caldor.
And you gotta love Blue Beetle there. Everybody jumping up, ecstatic, and Blue Beetle is saying, oh, yeah, we want another day in the office. Throws the jacket over and on the way out of it.
So Miracle will be moving forward to semifinals. They'll be facing off against Team Dignitas tomorrow, but for tonight, they can celebrate a well-earned victory. They were